ladies and gentlemen. It is the 25th of June, 2016. I am Frank, and this is Neil. Say hello, Neil.
Hello.
And we are the Dastardly Gentlemen. Tonight's topic of discussion is eSports and their future impact on the medium. Neil, what do you think about eSports?
I think esports is great. I think that it's super popular nowadays, especially with the nerd community, and even with the non-nerd community. It's gaining a lot of traction, especially. I don't know. You can't really go into a GameStop or any kind of anime store nowadays without seeing somebody broadcasting somebody playing Overwatch or HOTS or. I mean, I know that's just streaming, but there's also the League of Legends tournaments as well. The what do they call them? The national championships and all that shit.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's everywhere nowadays, and I think that's great. I think eventually, perhaps, hopefully, maybe it'll surpass baseball.
But no, really. So, I do like that. Like as far as like as an esport goes, it's very interesting that at almost any given time, because you can turn on Twitch at almost any given moment throughout your day, and you can find a tournament of some kind. It seems. It seems like almost every other week I'm stumbling across some kind of Heroes of the Storm national championship or local champion or regional championship of some kind in some language. I think that that's what's really made it interesting is because it's really opened up like a competitive scene where there has always been a competitive scene, but now that it's available for widespread consumption of people that can now kind of care, that you're seeing a lot more people formulating teams that are probably awful.
Sure. I mean, and that's one of the things is that you don't have to be naturally talented or, you don't have to spend half your life
At the gym.
Or you don't have to say goodbye to your career if your knee goes out. I mean, I guess if you go blind or something. I don't know. But, I mean, anybody can do it. It's kind of like bowling, you know?
You take that back. All my Brunswick friends out there, I'm sorry. I didn't know he was going to say that. You can't. Look, he's Mexican. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how important it is.
It's one of those strongly skill-based events to where you don't have to be in peak physical shape to do it. And it's just something I appreciate. It's something I can aspire to be. I can be a professional athlete, but not actually be in shape whatsoever. Of course, that's never going to happen because I'm not that good at video games, but...
But everybody, it's okay to dream.
Exactly, it's okay to dream. You can jump on League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm at any time, and you could sit there and be like, today's the day. I'm going to climb that ladder, and I'm going to be invited to the next national tournament.
And that is the one of the bigger differences as far as like I guess what you would call training goes for a competitive esport versus like say baseball. And that in baseball, if you train for 10 hours, you will die. But in an esport, like if you're playing Heroes, you can train for 15 hours and then you can eat some or you can drink you can eat some Mountain Dew, you can drink some Doritos, and then you can just kind of keep going. And it doesn't, overall, it's, I mean, yeah, you're going to get fat and you're going to be disgusting, but I mean, like, at the same time, like, your performance in the game will not be hindered by fatigue as it would with an actual sport. He says, pretentiously, that's not how I meant that. Not an actual, it's not that it's not an, fuck, not that it's not an actual sport. Shut up.
Dude, poker's a sport, okay?
Strongly disagree.
Well, it's in the Olympics. But any kind of game, I mean...
Sickens me.
Any kind of game can be televised and can be a big spectacle. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know. Just based on what they have to do, though, in order to become the best of the best. I mean, you see these people, and they don't necessarily fall under the lines of, the 35-year-old dude balding that's still living with his parents, but all he does is play video games all day. No, these are typically like, I don't know, kids in their late teens, early 20s, who just got really good because they played a whole lot. Some of them even dropped out of school. Have you seen that documentary on Netflix about that?
The one where the kid was dropped out of school, and he was playing League of Legends all the time, and he was hanging out in internet cafes. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on it because, well, I mean, apparently this is the standard in Korea, and I don't know if it's the same in the U.S., but I mean, once you get good enough, you get drafted to a team, basically. Somebody invites you to be on a team, and then you literally just move into a house. You move into a big house where you eat, sleep, and piss fucking video games all day long, and you got a coach and everything that walks around and formulates plays and techniques that you guys can do as a team, and strengths and weaknesses, all that stuff, just like any other sport. But I mean, it's like, MTV's The Real World, but for nerds.
But probably substantially less drama because ain't nobody's fucking anybody's girlfriend because ain't nobody got one. Ain't nobody got time for one.
I don't know. What about those chicks that only do platinums?
Well, look, it was the one time, he was platinum. You can't judge me.
I don't know. I'm just saying there are groupies. There are nerd groupies now. Pro.
So why aren't we platinum?
'Cause we're not good.
Damn it!
That and we're
We're gonna be good enough to have a heroes groupie because I think that they would probably look better. And they're more accessible, I feel.
Well, let's just put it this way. We have jobs and we have responsibilities, so we can't spend 8 to 12 hours a day just playing the same fucking video game over and over and over. And to be quite honest, when I did have that kind of time, it was not good. I mean, I remember playing World of Warcraft for 8 hours a day, and I don't want to ever be that person again.
Posh on your responsibilities. Nay to your naysaying on the only 8 hours. 8 hours? Ha! Ha!
Filthy
That's a good
casual.
warm up. That's a good warm up. When do you actually start playing?
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't want to do that.
love the idea of a platinum level groupie because I love to think of your example of what it's not with the 35 plus basement balding, etc. Just like walking into a GameStop or like a used video game store and just like he's got like I mean, I know they don't have them, but like he's got a platinum belt, like a wrestling belt, and he just slaps that shit on the table, and like literally like just chicks come from every direction, and just his pants just disappear.
Speaking of championship belts, I mean that's I've always wanted to have like my own eSports venue, and I think that might be something I would shoot for in the future, given my financial status. But
They're fun to make. I've designed several.
well, actually doing it would be sweet. Not like designing it is one thing, but actually making it happen is another thing. I'm talking about like, I don't know. I kind of wanted to make it like pro wrestling, to where the teams have their own entrance music and they're fighting for the belt, and I think that would be sweet.
Have you seen some like the BlizzCon like finals with like Tempo Storm and Cloud9? I mean, they almost do. I mean, they don't, I guess, but I mean, like the hype is real.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially those casters, man. Those casters get into it, and that's great.
I love it. I mean, like I love the passion of it. But like every time, I feel like they aren't as excited as I am every time Lily dies. Like when Lily's killed, I'm like, fuck yes, just tell it on the mountain. They're like, and Lily's down. No, you need to scream that shit from the heavens because fuck Lily.
I agree, especially since she's damn near impossible to kill. But
fuck yeah. Lily 2016. Also my fetish.
Well, I mean, so esports got really, really popular right about League of Legends and Dota 2.
Right. Hmm.
Okay, but esports have been around for quite a while.
Right.
They were MLG was a big deal, kind of back in the day. That was the go-to, and that was primarily Halo 2 and Halo 3 and all that shit. But even before the MLG, we had the Evo tournament,
Hmm.
and the Evo tournament has revolved strongly around Street Fighter and other fighting games.
How do you feel about Smash Bros. Having not only having its own tournament in some cases, but having a presence in Evo?
Well, it's been in Evo for a long time. It's also been in MLG, but I mean, it's a pretty technical game, and there's a lot of people out there that don't consider it an actual fighting game. But I mean,
Right.
it's a damn fighting game. But especially when Brawl came out, not Brawl, Melee. When Melee came out, with the wave dashing and the very fine-tuned technical techniques each character had, and the balance and whatnot each character had, it became something that you could actually have a tournament over, a real tournament, and not just a gimmick. And with the introduction with the Brawl and the Smash Brothers Wii U, it's only gotten better. Of course, Melee is still a heavy presence, and people always go back to Melee because of the wave dashing and because it's a lot more fast paced. Um, I don't know. I think it's great. I love Melee, especially since it's a fun party game. But the fact that you can, you know, take that and make some money off of it, make a career off of it, shit, that's the dream right there.
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, for real, like, playing video games and doing all that kind of stuff and actually making money on it is fantastic. And I think that's like one of the things that's the best part about the esports is that it covers such a wide variety of not only game genres, but like the kind of games that are that represent that genre, which really gives like a new dynamic to each encounter. So like you've got like because you've got your Smash Brothers Melee, which plays wholly different in every way to Street Fighter, and then you've got Mortal Kombat, which is wholly different than both. And then I mean, like I know that's not doing it, but for example, like another fighting game that I feel probably should really have like an MLG. I don't know if it does or not. Killer Instinct.
It
You know,
does.
it
It's
does
part.
it. It
It's gonna
should. Good. I'm glad because it should.
it's gonna
You
be
know,
an Evo this year.
that's wonderful. That's so good. But like they all play differently, and it's like you're not. It's not like we're like baseball. You go to baseball, and the team might be different, but it's still baseball.
Yeah.
Where like but it, like with an Evo, you got Street Fighter, but then you've got Mortal Kombat, but then you've got Smash. I mean, and like there's the diametrics are so different between each one that it's refreshing to see and to experience each one in its entirety, and that the tournament's excitement is different for each one.
Oh yeah.
To me, and I think that's wonderful. It's refreshing, and it makes it so you never really get bored watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you're just a casual and you just touch on each one of these games a little bit, and even if you don't, um,
Oh my God, the guy in the white gi is
yeah,
really mean to the guy in the red gi. Why aren't they friends? They looked alike.
of course you're gonna have a better appreciation for it if you play the game, and maybe not necessarily on a pro level, even a casual level. You know the dynamics of the game, so when you're watching this and somebody does an amazing move, combo, technique, whatever, and that just, everybody gets on their feet and cheers. I mean, you saw the what do they call it? The Evo moment number 37, right?
Isn't that the one where like he has like no health left and he parried every hit?
Yeah, he
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was Daigo. He was playing against Justin Wong,
Right.
and as soon as that happened and he made the comeback, everybody was on their feet cheering, and that's it. I mean, that's the moment that everybody will go back to and say, "This is what esports is. This is why you watch for shit like that." And those are the top two players in the world.
Right.
It makes me kind of sad because that was Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and that game is not really that popular anymore because it's about 20 years old now.
Hmm.
But it was one of the most technical fighting games, and still is one of the most technical fighting games out there right now. It's my favorite fighting game of all time because of how technical it is. I mean, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, they don't hold a candle to how technical Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is. And it's really hard for me to pick up 4 and 5 and translate my skill that I had for 3 into those two games, because it's a whole different game, and you have to pretend like, I don't know, the whole loss of the parrying system in 4 and 5. You used to be able to pretty much throw yourself into any situation, and if you could parry good enough, you could still come out on top. But now you have to really read the other person's mind, and hopefully they can't read yours, kind of thing. I don't know. And that's the whole thing in a fighting game, in a tournament situation, or even just playing casually, is trying not to be predictable and
Staying 2 steps ahead.
yeah, it's a combination of like chess and rock paper scissors at all times.
Right.
So I mean, and you just watching that in general is it blows my mind how good these people are. And like I said, I used to be really fucking good at Street Fighter 3. Could I hold a candle to those people in the Evo tournaments? Maybe, probably not, but I would have loved to have tried. Nowadays, I just no, it's just not gonna happen. I bought Street Fighter 5 recently, and I started playing it, and I felt really good at first, and now I'm about 50-50. And that discourages me greatly, but I guess all I could do is just keep on playing and keep getting better. But I don't know, people have a lot of time on their hands. I don't.
So would you say that Street Fighter 5 plays a lot slower than Street Fighter 3?
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to say it's slower. It feels slower. Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 5, when it comes to their combos, when it comes to their input, it's about the same. Street Fighter 4 was very small windows for your button inputs when it came to combos, which I didn't really care for. You would see like 8 or 9 hit combos, and you had to perfectly time those button hits. And I didn't really care for that, because for maximum damage, you had to basically be a machine.
Right.
And it took away the skill aspect of it, because not really the skill. It took away the mind game aspect, because it always was okay, I'm going to trick you into doing this, and you're going to leave yourself open, and then I'm going to punish you for it. No, this is like, okay, I'm going to wait for you to fuck up, and then I'm going to type in this gigantic combo and take you out. And I might be completely undermining the whole Street Fighter 4 scene, and it's still very much alive, but I don't know. That's just how I felt about the game. But Street Fighter 3, there were times where if both you and your opponent jumped at the same time, if you timed it just right, you could counter parry their attacks and vice versa, like for a half an hour, like, and still be in midair. I mean, you throw out a punch, they parry; they throw out a punch, you parry, back and forth, and that's awesome. That's almost like Dragon Ball Z battle to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just I don't know, that's more like I said, the technical aspect of Street Fighter 3. Same thing with Smash Brothers. I mean, it's all about faking out your opponent, baiting them into doing shit, and punishing them once they actually do it, and they're doing the same to you. So I don't know.
I can accept the precision in Street Fighter. I have a very difficult time a lot of times accepting the precision in Smash, because to me in Smash, that just because I guess maybe it's just the way the characters move, but they always look like they're just sort of flailing at each other.
Well, I can understand that, especially when it comes to the big moves that they do. Typically in the tournament settings, though, they'll turn off the super smash moves or whatever after you get your power into your super move. So it's just all down to regulars and specials. And when you get two very quick characters like Fox and Falco, for example, it's just a whole lot of tumbling and rolling around and trying to throw and trying to get past the guard bubble. But I don't know, some of these people, like, because every time you take a punch in midair, it allows you to jump again. So a lot of times you'll see them like off the stage by about a mile, just fighting in midair, keep jumping until the other one just spikes them down to the bottom of the screen. But and then somehow they can magically recover and get back to the stage. But when you play it on, and I used to play Smash Brothers a lot, but when you play it on that level and still be able to survive at the end, it is super disheartening to be on the receiving end of something like that. And especially when everybody's cheering after you just got spiked and the other guy's sitting there taunting on the stage.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess full disclosure, I'm not a fighting game guy.
Yeah.
Just so that everyone is aware. So, would you? I know, but I know fighting games. I know what they are. So I mean, at least there's that. You know, I'm not Conan, but so would you? How would you rate? I guess. Have you ever played any of the Guilty Gears?
I played Guilty Gear Double X in the arcade back in the day.
How would you rate the Guilty? I mean, there's a new one that just came out, so I guess I can't really ask you about that. But how would you rate that Guilty Gear versus Street Fighter V as far as like the precision in its inputs and how fast you can actually get into fights and I guess like the overall technical skill in it? Because from what I understand, Guilty Gear right now is probably one of the most technical fighters that's available.
Well, Guilty Gear back when I played it was pretty much on par with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which
Not gonna lie, that doesn't really mean much to me.
well, I'll tell you.
Okay,
But
I will listen.
basically, Marvel vs. Capcom, any of the Marvel vs. Capcoms, um, had a lot to do with air combos.
Hmm.
Basically, you jump in, or you roll in, you do a quick ground combo, knock them in the air, and then do something obscene in the air, like 45 hit combo type deal.
That I know about.
And in Marvel vs. Capcom, especially the third one, you have the second and third one, you have two tag team partners that can come in at any time. So you can get 200, 300 hit combos with all this fucking Iron Man bullshit and Magneto throwing a bunch of shit at you. And it's really cool when you pull it off, but to have your entire character wiped out just by a single combo is stupid. It leaves zero room for mistakes, and that's what fighting games are all about, is give and take. And if you're just giving in a single fucking combo because you got caught once, that's a stupid game to me. I mean, and I'm not saying Marvel vs. Capcom was ever stupid. It's just as far as it's in a tournament setting, it got stupid.
Gotcha.
And I read a couple articles on what people feel about Marvel vs. Capcom, and I felt the same way about Guilty Gear. Is basically there were only 5 or 6 characters that were relevant in the tournament scene. All 60 other characters were just kind of there for fluff.
Oh, that's no good.
So in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you had Magneto, you had Sentinel, and you had what's his name? Fucking Cable. And that was your team. And if you picked anything else, you will lose. Because you can't, lock somebody down for the entire round with their constant beaming combos and whatnot. And as far as Guilty Gear is concerned, it didn't have the tag team feature in it, which is cool. But it was still about that. It was still run in, catch your opponent off guard, do a quick ground combo, knock him in the air, and do another 15-hit combo in the air. And to me, it was really cool and gimmicky at the time, and it lost its touch after a while because it no longer was a technical game. It was who got hit first. Okay, they lost.
It was like the modern military shooter of fighting games, where I saw him first and I pulled the trigger first. Air he falls.
Yes, basically. And you're bad because you got hit once. And that one time led to 900 other hits.
So I actually have a story about that.
Okay.
So I again not a fighting game guy. But I was exposed by Kyle to fighting games well, to Marvel vs. Capcom specifically, and I was like, okay, we'll play. And so he and I played, and he was really good, and so he proceeded to to tunnel my butthole, and God bless him because he didn't give me any kind of room for quota. He just destroyed me, and I appreciate that he didn't take it easy on me. So then he leaves for a little while, and then my wife is sitting there, and she says, "Well, do you think I can play?" And I'm kind of and but I hate myself for this, but I went full Macho Man mode where I was like, I'll show the little girl how to push buttons, and I'm like this is punch and this is jump and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, I think I got it, and I was like, all right. And I remember I was playing Mega Man. I don't remember who she was playing because of like all the shit that she did to me, but like it says 3, 2, 1, fight. This bitch, like, she dives across the screen, and poor little blue Mega Man, his shiny, fucking wonderful helmet is suddenly just rocketing skyward, and she hits me with a 36 hit combo, 36 hits, Neil, and it was like 99, 98, and I fucking died. I was like, what just happened? And she's all, and I'm like, I don't understand. So, okay, beginner's luck. Because I don't know, for some reason, even though, like, like to think of myself as very progressive, because she had a vagina, that immediately made her, like, not good at fighting games. So then round two, she says, I think I want to try something. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll see how you do. 3, 2, 1. She hits me with the entire X-Men team. I don't even know how you did it. And like, there's beams and laser guns and Cyclops and fucking tornadoes and bullshit, tearing little fucking poor Mega Man. He's getting thrown around the screen like fucking a tin can in Kansas. It's awful. I mean, it was a hate crime. She beat me so bad that I almost threw the goddamn controller. And then Kyle comes back, and I'm furious at this point because she is just destroying everything about me. She's unmaking me from history, and she says, "Kyle, can we play Marvel vs. Capcom?" And he did the same fucking face that I did. He rolls his eyes, and I'm like, "No, dude, bruh, no, for reals though, she's really good." All right, whatever. You're just not that good. And I'm like, well, that is fair, but fine, fuck you. Well, you find out. And so I'm in there in my kitchen. My kitchen's a little bit away from the TV, and I hear the game start up. 3, 2, 1. What the fuck? I know. That's what I'm saying. She fucking destroyed him. And I mean, like okay, like she had the element of surprise. She won several of the games, but over the course of 15 or something, they were about even.
Okay.
I was stunned though. I mean, okay, but for me though, me personally, I had no chance.
Sure.
I couldn't even breathe. I literally, I mean, she hit me so hard and so fast, I didn't have time to shit my pants. It was awful.
Man, that's funny. When I was in college, I spent a lot of time in the arcade, and time I should have been spending in class, but I didn't.
You can't skip school in college. What's wrong with you?
I was there against my will. But if at the time if I had quit, then I'd have to pay back my loans. And what's a 17-year-old kid to do when he's got $6,000 in debt? So I just made an appearance and kind of skated by. But anyways, I spent probably at least 50% of the time in the arcade, and we had Street Fighter 3 Third Strike there, and also Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now it got to the point where there was me and one other guy that just had a line of people just losing left and right. And every now and then it would be me versus him, and it would be a big to-do because everybody would be cheering and stuff and taking bets and shit, which was cool. After that, I moved over to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I tried playing it, and it was a fun game to me. But there was this one guy that nobody ever talked to. He wore glasses. He always had like a fucking Indiana Jones satchel with him. But he always wore it. He never put it down. He wore it while he was playing. And literally before each match and in between, matches after that, he would like be typing on on the six keys, like just typing like a sequence every single time, and just over and over and over a sequence. And I was like super annoyed by it because he always picked the same three people: Sentinel, Cable, and Magneto. And I'm like, okay. And so basically, I would go to play him because I had already conquered Street Fighter 3. Let's try out Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And literally, he would. Do you know what chip damage is?
No.
Okay, chip damage is when you're blocking and you take damage because you're blocking like a special attack.
Gotcha.
And basically, whenever I would play this guy, he would just do that sequence over and over and over again with Cable. And doesn't matter where I am on the screen, I have to block. And that happens the entire match. So I just get chip damage to death blocking because I can't stop blocking the entire fucking time. And I'm like, I'm going to fight you in real life.
Yeah, man,
like, how is that fun to you?
I would have shivved that guy. I'm like that's cute. Stick, 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 stick.
Yeah, and I'm like, there was likely a way out of it, but I mean, I wasn't that good at the game. But
So, do you think that on the inside he was sitting there giggling away, or was he actually like laughing, like right next to you?
it was fucking ice cold the entire game.
That's good because I'm pretty sure he probably knew, and that if he made even even the hint of a titter, he probably would have lost his life.
That is true. But you know what? After a while, when he wasn't around anymore, and I fucking practiced on the game a bit because I didn't go to class.
You said so proudly.
I eventually beat him a couple times, and the look on his face. I didn't. He had the better record, obviously, but the look on his face every time I beat him was like, "Oh, how can this be?"
I love to beat somebody whenever they know that they're better than me because it feels like I literally just dropped trout and just gently dragged my sack across their face. Feel like, you smell that? That's right.
It's like,
Chicken, you had me short hairs.
oh man, and that would happen too. Like just playing Street Fighter or whatever, you'd get lucky and beat the guy that's the best at it, and then you'd be like talking some massive shit, like, "Oh, there's a new kid in town, isn't there, buddy? Step aside."
You have to. It's like a requirement, I mean, it's like whenever we play Overwatch, and I'm following like our mutual friends that apparently don't do anything ever, and they're like, they're like 72 at the start, so they're like 100 level 172, and I'll kill somebody and be like, "Don't worry, I got him." Why don't you guys just get on my shoulders, I guess? And I'm like, my KD's like 1 to 4. No, it's fine. I'll do it. I'll do everything. Oh, it's glorious.
Oh yeah, you gotta talk that noise. You gotta do it.
Absolutely. So what kind of games do you like to see in a competitive atmosphere? What kind of games would you like to not see in a competitive atmosphere as well?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm over Call of Duty. I'm over Battlefield. I don't think those are big tickets in the competitive field.
I don't think Battlefield's ever been competitive, has it?
Well, I know Battlefield and Call of Duty were big in colleges.
Right.
That's why you get those stupid YouTube videos with bros screaming at the top of their lungs.
Well, to be fair, that's pretty much the only way they know how to communicate.
True. CS:GO I know is pretty big as well, but those are not like big televised events. Those are like, underground tournaments and shit.
Right.
So I'm fine with those not being big. I'm fine with those being underground because I don't want to see those. I really don't have any care or concern for those. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see Overwatch, which it's going to be a thing.
Right, that's already.
It's gonna happen. I like seeing HOTS. I like seeing League. Dota, to me, has always been overly complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no interest in watching that. Smash Brothers is just fine. I'd like to see more of that.
Sure.
All of the popular fighting games, but most of all, I'd love to see Third Strike make a big comeback, and it almost did when they re-released it for Xbox 360. They made a live Xbox Live version of it, and it was pretty big at first, and then it just kind of faded away again. And I don't know. I really wish Capcom would just fucking bring back that style of play again. I don't care if they have to completely remake the game, but just bring back parrying. And they kind of did it in Street Fighter V with a couple characters, but it's still nothing compared to what it was in Third Strike. Um, it just brings a whole new dimension to the game. It takes, I mean, like I said, Street Fighter V, Street Fighter 4 had always been rock paper scissors. Like every move you do is rock paper scissors. But the parrying thing added another dimension. It added a fourth option.
I
So,
really kind of gave it like a skill ceiling, really. Like like if you couldn't parry,
mhm.
then really you were almost non-competitive.
Well, there were actually, well, true, very true, but there were some people out there that chose not to parry. And
Right, but like I'm sure if the push came to shove that they could probably do it pretty effectively because they would have to have. I imagine being the non-fighting guy, I imagine that they would have to parry at some point.
I mean, they would if they wanted to bring that fourth dimension into the play, and if you don't, I mean, you're handicapping yourself.
Right.
But I mean, if you could manage to fucking, wreck somebody without parrying, that's pretty impressive. But you really are hindering yourself. I mean, it brings a whole new dimension of mind games to the playing field that if you're just throwing rock paper scissors and the other guy has dynamite up his sleeve every single time, you're gonna lose.
Right.
So yeah, I really want to see that come back again.
You went straight up fourth grade for that joke. Rock paper dynamite. That's wonderful. I appreciate that.
Pretty much. At least I didn't
So,
say shotgun.
then we'd probably have to fight. So I think for me, there's only really one game that I'm not excited to ever see in an MLG setting, and it just recently had a tournament, and that's the World of Warcraft Arena. I
Yeah.
am honestly surprised that they did. I imagine Blizzard probably had to hold their own because everybody else doesn't want to have any part in it because, wow, PvP is broken. Have fun to Stun City. That's all it is. And it's hateful and frustrating as hell. And if you're a Mistwalker monk, I hate you. I hate you so goddamn much.
The WoW arena in general, I mean, even Battlegrounds to me, I never had too much fun with it because it's usually super one-sided, and
Right.
either you're decked out and geared out and you've got your macros the way you need them, or you lose. You're
hmm
just fodder, basically.
And I heal in arena and battleground, and it would always just be so aggravating. Where I could I could be number one in healing for both teams, almost double what the next three people are, and we still lose. And I'm like how I mean what but. Nah. I mean, I get it in Overwatch and Heroes too, where we'll do a thing like especially like whenever like I would play Asmodan and I get number one in Hero, Siege, kills, assists, and like experience contribution, and I'm like, how did we lose? Where were you guys? Where was everyone else? What's happening in my team?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I'm with you on that one. That I would rather not see that. It doesn't excite me whatsoever.
It's boring. It's boring to play. I'm sorry. It's frustrating and boring to play. And it's really boring to watch. I mean, like they're making like these big like super clip videos of the PvP arena, and even their super clip videos look boring as shit to me. I mean, like I don't know. Maybe I've just outgrown WoW at this point, but I mean, which is true. But like
Hmm.
the arena. The arena in particular is egregious about being super dull because there are just some there's just some class combinations that are just going to win, and there are some class combinations that are just by God they are the favored sons of Krypton and they are going to fuck you with a stick, and
Yeah,
it is awful. Mistwalker monk,
yeah,
feral druid. Fuck you with your being able to heal and fucking cat form dashing motherfucker.
yeah. When Jared decided to get us back into WoW, or at least me back into WoW again, I was very hesitant, but everybody moved to it, and I'm like, screw it, I want to play with my friends.
Right.
So I did that, and then I don't know. It took me about couple, 3 or 4 nights of PvPing, and I'm like, yep, this is boring.
And this is I mean, like, and I don't, and I really enjoyed it because I mean, like, it's like you can play a crappy game, but if you play it with your friends, it's fine. And to me, that was pretty much what the WoW PvP was. Is it was a crappy game, but it wasn't so bad because I was playing with my friends. But then it did get to a point where I'm like, I am getting to the point where I don't care if it is with my friends.
Yeah.
It's getting to be so aggravating. I just want to be done, and it's making me insane because it's like we couldn't it gets to the point where like you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere without being just obliterated, and you just fucking stop. I just don't care. Like I sat waiting to get into a queue for 25 goddamn minutes to get literally fucking fisted by the enemy team for about 5 minutes.
Yep.
And like like you get you get like 14 honor. Whoopty goddamn doodah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel a lot like that, especially maybe not the same feelings, but when it comes to HOTS, I really do enjoy playing HOTS. I'm not gonna lie,
I
I
love that game.
primarily only enjoy it playing with friends because, I mean, communication is key, obviously, and
And solo queuing is so stressful because like because if you make if you make that one mistake that you're just it's like that fear. I don't know, maybe it's just because I played League for a little bit, but like it's that fear that like if you make one error, you are gonna just you're gonna hear about it for the rest of the game.
oh yeah, and
You're gonna hear about how many people have in this team have fucked your mom.
yeah, well, it's that, and I mean, same thing in the league where you get that one asshole on your team, and you fuck up once to their disliking, and they start micromanaging you. They look at every little thing you do, and it doesn't make it any easier on you. So, I don't know. Obviously, those people are the ranking that they are for a reason, and that's a very large reason. But as far like I said, as far as HOTS is concerned, my dislike of the game isn't necessarily because it's not a fun game. It's a very fun game. It's the time frame in which the game is played that turns me off on it because it's a lot like League. League is longer, but you spend 20 to 30 minutes playing a game. You can't leave, or there's heavy penalties. And you put in all this effort for one glorious takedown of the core for a solid 30 minutes, and you either win or you lose. So it's you're locked in, and you're locked in with potentially 4 other assholes. I forget what the team size is.
5, yeah.
It's unappealing to me in comparison to Overwatch, because with Overwatch, you're not even really locked in there with 5 other assholes. You're just kind of there, and you could leave at any time with as little to no consequences, and they'll just pick up somebody immediately that's already queued up. So it's no sweat off their sack. It's no sweat off your sack. You're just it's golden there. And if you want to stick it through the whole game, and you're having to deal with one asshole or several assholes, the games are like 10 minutes long tops. So if you just want to suck it up and handle it, it'll be over soon anyways.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the best things about Overwatch. I mean, like I really when it was coming out, I really didn't care all that much for it because I didn't like Team Fortress, another game which also shouldn't be competitive.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't really I really didn't want to enjoy it. I didn't want to have high expectations, but damn it, it ended up being really good after a while, and I didn't realize how much it was going to mean to me to have a game that only lasts like 6 or 7 minutes, because I can actually play Overwatch periodically throughout the day because of the short time frame, because I'll be sitting there watching my kids and I have my laptop out. I'm going to play a quick game of Overwatch, and I can get it out in 6 minutes. I can play 3 games of Overwatch on average in one episode of Curious George, and it is fantastic. And I mean, I can't do that with Heroes. Because like you said, the penalties if you leave Heroes, I mean, they're pretty drastic. I mean, not I guess drastic, but I mean, if you leave and then you try to come back or whatever, then you gotta wait, and it puts you back in the game, and then you're an asshole, and blah, 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 blah. But with Overwatch, even if they did that, like a similar system that they did to Heroes, You leave, and then you just wait 10 minutes, and the game's over.
Yep,
So it wouldn't really matter anyway.
pretty much. I'm kind of interested to see when Overwatch actually does get competitive and does get into the tournament scene, what kind of prize pools they'll be looking at. Because, I mean, as of right now, the biggest prize pools in the esports scene is League of Legends.
Hmm.
Last I checked, they were giving, what was it, $1 million to the first place team.
Wow.
Like stupid amounts of money. The prize pool for the top three was $3 million or something like that, or like $2 million. We're 7 figures, uh, which Evo has always been 50K,
Hmm.
which is a lot of money for somebody. It's for a single person that's
Right.
just making their hobby into a career basically. Um,
Can you imagine the stress, though?
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine what it. I mean, that's another dimension of respect to have for these people that are top 10.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, especially that Evo moment when you fucking full parried Chun Li's super art. You have to be cold as ice to be able to do that, and take first place and take the 50K. All the pressure, it's all on the line. And if he would have missed a single fucking, left on the D-pad or left on the stick, within 10 microseconds, it would have been all over.
Hmm.
So, just the amount of, I don't know what, the amount of nerve you have to have.
The concentration is really, really unreal. I mean, like you said, the nerve has to be there. I mean, like he's got to have nerves of steel, and he's got to have that focus has got to be just dialed in.
Yeah, and with a crowd of a couple thousand people behind you cheering you on and shit, like you don't want to disappoint, you don't want to lose that money. You came
Hmm.
all this way, and Evo is always held in Vegas. Um, I think there was one in Japan too, or something like that. But you came all the way across the country if you didn't live nearby just for this one moment. Yeah, it is a fucking huge deal. Um, it's like I said, and you laughed at it. Maybe one day it'll be bigger than baseball.
You never know.
I hope so.
I mean, at least it's more interesting to watch.
Yeah. Baseball. I've been to baseball games where I'm just like, where's the bar?
I have as well. I got to watch the catcher hit foul balls for almost 25 minutes.
Oh God.
I was ready to leave.
Oh man.
Well, everybody, it's been a fantastic hour. This hour we have covered the uh, esports scene, which, as we've discussed, is rather large, broad, and complex. If you liked what you listened to today, go ahead and check us out on our Facebook page. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and our website, which will be linked in the description below.
Also, we will post this on YouTube and iTunes for your listening pleasure.
And mine.
Yes.
Bye
See you next time.
bye.